Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bayishim, Barakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bayishim, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to Ya'akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the Brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'll be profiling this video from the Voice TV Nigeria's YouTube channel titled, Shocker, White Man Exposes Plan Against Blacks in USA. And this is Ecclesiasticus, or the Book of Sirach, in the Apocrypha, chapter 41, all day. This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 41, I'm going to read verse 5 through 7. The children of sinners are abominable children, and you Edomites, or so-called white people, are the biggest sinners on the face of the earth. Your entire society is built on everything contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ishim Yahushai in the scriptures. And they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly, the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish. And we can clearly see that your inheritance is perishing right before your very eyes. Your birth rates are declining globally. Your economies are on the verge of collapse globally. The relationship between the Edomite man and woman is at its lowest. Your families are breaking down. Everything's going bad for you. And we haven't even gotten to Jacob's trouble yet, where you're going to be as that chaste roe, as it says in Isaiah chapter 13, during these race wars. Because while all these nations are going to be fighting each other, the one thing they're going to have in common is coming after you Edomites. And then nuclear missiles are going to hit everywhere you Edomites dwell. In the United States of America alone, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great, it's going to be hit with 200 million nuclear missiles and turned into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And their posterity shall have a perpetual, never-ending reproach. After the dust settles from that nuclear fire, you Edomites that are left are going to be gathered up and have chains slapped on you by the elect of the nation of Israel, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3. And the true children of Israel are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the nation of people that you've been afflicting all throughout your history. The children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. And that's exactly what this Edomite is doing in this video. He's complaining about the sins of his forefathers, how you Edomites in the past, and even up until today, did the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans dirty. And also, this Edomite, like a lot of you other Edomites, can sense in your spirit that a recompense is coming, and best believe it is. We're going to get into some scriptures later about how you Edomites are going to go into slavery under the people you put into slavery, and we're going to do double unto you as you did unto us, but in righteousness.
Hey everybody, Dixon back. You know, about 600 years ago, white supremacy wasn't really a thing. 600 years ago, it's just, there were human beings in the world. There were just people. Some from Africa, some from Europe, some from Asia. They're just people. And then the Europeans began to go exploring. Their ships are able to go all over the world. And so they got greedy as fuck. And they had the musket. And 1455, the Roman Catholic Church made a law, and they split. They gave Portugal the right to the west coast of Africa, and they gave them the right to enslave Africans, to plunder them, to rape them, to rob them, and steal from anything they wanted from them. The Roman Catholic Church started the whole goddamn thing. And then, of course, they gave Spain the right to go out into the New World, conquer, steal gold, land, whatever they want to do, rape, murder. And that's exactly what they did. And that's exactly, it started, over 500 years ago. Today's 2020, and this is 1455. And the first ship, 1526, the first slave ship from Portugal landed in Brazil. And the whole goddamn thing began. And that's how we got where we are. And so why did white supremacy start? To justify the greed. Portugal and all these European, France, England, the Netherlands, the Dutch, all these people, the Europeans, decided to proclaim that white people were superior and therefore had the right to imperialize, to colonize.
And you Edomites aren't superior, you're inferior, especially to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the true children of Israel. As it says in Daniel chapter 4, you're the basest of men. The only reason you Edomites ever came into power at any point throughout history is because Yahweh by Yishim Yahushai set you up to fulfill prophecy. And also, the reason you Edomites have that continual hatred towards the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and come up with all these schemes to afflict them is because in your spirit, you're still angry at our forefather Jacob from getting the blessing and the birthright to the kingdom of heaven from your forefather Esau. It's not about skin color or anything like that, because contrary to popular belief, you have Edomites that look like so-called black, Latino, and Native American people, and you have Israelites that look like this Edomite on the screen. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart or his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And as it says in Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5, because thou hast had a perpetual, never-ending hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So all the way up until today, after colonization and slavery, you Edomites still have that perpetual, malicious, violent hatred towards the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's why you put Planned Parenthoods into our neighborhoods to advocate for our women to get abortions. You give us poisonous food and water to eat and drink. Israelites are the last hired and first fired at the job. These cops gun down our men, women, and children down dead in the street. You give us hip-hop culture and black culture to pollute our minds and take us away from our power, Yahweh by Yishim Yahushai, and make us think that we're everything else under the sun but the children of Israel. And you make Jake's situation so bad in the hood that they become desperate, and then you flood the places where the Israelites dwell with guns and drugs. So Israel's got no other choice but to turn to those guns and drugs and kill and destroy each other. You Edomites got a lot to pay for, and it's quickly coming to you.
To steal and enslave and rape and murder. And all of these things were justified in the name of white superiority.
Edomite superiority.
We can have dominance over all black and brown people by nature. And that was the myth and the lie that was started.
Definitely is a myth. Again, the only reason you Edomites, the basest of men, ever came into power is because Yahweh by Yishim Yahushai set you up to fulfill prophecy.
To justify the European greed and evil. And that shit's been running for 500 fucking years. And here we are now, 2020. And white people are still a bunch of fucking white supremacists. Not a goddamn thing has changed.
Because thou hast had that perpetual hatred towards your brother Jacob.
The only thing that's changed is the technology. You can see racism now. I saw a video of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery being hunted down, tracked, and lynched by 3 racists. That was a mob. That was a lynching. And that's a felony lynching, which is against the law. Now it's against the law. It didn't used to be. The civil rights laws passed. There's something called felony lynching. It's a hate crime. And anyhow, he was murdered. By the way, Ahmaud Arbery was a hell of a warrior. He fought for his life, and he lost that day. But his mom said, I hope his killers get the death penalty. And you know, I don't believe in the death penalty because our justice system's so fucked up. But in this case, let those motherfuckers fry. Because without accountability, without white accountability, without racist accountability, this shit will repeat itself. So there has to be accountability applied to all racists. And I mean all forms, the covert, the overt, the passive. But you know, the thing, white, and I've said this many times before, but here we are. And that's the whole thing about white supremacy, is it all comes down to greed. It's economics and privilege and dominance. That's what that's what this nation America was built on. Was that this country was built exclusively for white people.
Hey, and he's spitting facts. The United States of America was only ever made to benefit Edomites.
And that's a fact. That always was. They don't say that. They didn't openly state it, but obviously it's true. And that's how white privilege works. A white person today in 2020 can go jogging down the fucking street, can walk into a house in construction and not be hunted down and fucking lynched in the fucking street. That shit doesn't fucking happen. A 12-year-old boy, Tamir Rice, playing with a little toy gun, if that had been a white kid, the cop would have said, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?" Instead of racing to a fucking park, jump out of the car and execute a young child. Emmett Till, going back 40, 50, 60 years ago, all he did was walk into a fucking store and the white lady lied and said, "He's harassing me." Lynched. This is how white supremacy works. And the other way white supremacy works, and what we're indoctrinated to do from birth, all of us, no matter who you are, if you are white, you are taught this shit, and you're taught it either directly or indirectly, consciously or unconsciously, you're taught it. And you're taught it by all kinds of different ways, all kinds of different messages, but it's taught. And there's all kinds of proof that it's taught. But we're taught to not give a fuck about our brothers and sisters that are black and brown. To not give a fuck about anybody outside of white. That's why that screaming silence you hear, or that you don't hear, from white folks when there's lynchings and when there's huge, crazy injustices happening. In 2015, black people were 5 times more likely, unarmed black people were 5 times more likely to die from being killed by the police than white people. Today.
And who was president during the year 2015? Barack Obama, and he's not an Israelite. He's a filthy, stinking Hamite, or so-called African.
I think it's 2.5. It's crazy. They're being lynched. If they're not being lynched by the police, they're being lynched by white, Trump-loving, Christian, white motherfuckers. And by the way, it's always been Christians, white Christians, that's behind this shit. The Roman...
Hey, so-called white Christians are the biggest mass murderers and bringers of misery throughout history.
The Catholic Church started the whole goddamn thing. Look it up, folks. They started the whole fucking thing. The indigenous genocide, the Black Holocaust, the Atlantic slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. It was the Roman Catholic Church supporting all that shit. And if you look today, look at
so-called white Christian men, Edomite men, bringing that poisonous, deadly plantation Christianity, putting up that false image of Jesus Christ or Caesar Borgia.
Look at the people who killed Ahmaud Arbery, Christians, white Christians. They're racist. White Christians are largely racist and fucking hypocrites. White Jesus has been used to kill millions of people, indigenous people, and it's still going on today. And I'm not against Christianity. I'm against the way Christianity has been used. And I'm against white Jesus. White Jesus is a fucking lie. Even the Bible.
Point blank period.
The Bible says Jesus wasn't fucking white.
He was a dark-skinned Negro with white woolly hair. Just go to Revelation chapter 1.
It's all a fucking lie. So all you white Christians out there that are racist, fuck you. You fucking low-down fucking hypocrite.
Hey,
check
preach.
Yourself. Check.
But now I'm going to jump to the 8-minute and 45-second mark.
Yeah, you want your privilege. Yeah, you're worried about karma because of all the nasty shit we've done to black people. You know what we've done to black people, white America. You know goddamn well what we've done. And that's what you're fucking scared of. We've all been
And hey, that recompense is coming, and we're going to do double unto you as you did unto us. That's it with this video, and let's get back into some precepts. This is Jeremiah 30 verse 16. Therefore, All they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, slavery, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. And all you heathen nations have had a part in afflicting the children of Israel in the past, all the way up until today. Just go to Psalms chapter 83 to see the table of nations that confederated themselves against the children of Israel. And at the top of the list are you Edomites, or so-called white people. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 9 through 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, the transatlantic slave trade. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. All those jakes killed during chattel slavery, the worst form of slavery in human history. All those jakes killed during Reconstruction. All those jakes lynched during the Jim Crow era, through the Civil Rights era, the crack epidemic, all the way up until today. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, and the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the righteous 1/3 are diligently waiting for Yahushua to return and take you Edomites out of power so we can get our licks back on you for 1,000 years. Close it out in Ezekiel chapter 25, verse 12 through 14. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, the house of Judah being the so-called African Americans, and you Edomites have had a particular heart-on for the tribe of Judah. You've always done your best to just keep Judah at the lowest point he could ever possibly be. And the reason for that is because you know that once Judah wakes up and starts calling on Yahweh by Yishim Yahushai, all the other tribes are going to get in line, which is exactly what's played out, and hath greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. As I said at the beginning of the video, everywhere you Edomites dwell is going to be hit with a nuclear missile, and the one place that's going to be completely eradicated is the United States of America. But as for you Edomites that survive, as it says in verse 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, the elect, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3, the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven are going to round up all you remaining Edomites, beginning with the elites, such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Gettys, the DuPonts, you name it, and slap chains on you so you can serve that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, the anger of the Most High, Yahweh, whom the heathens referred to as the great demon-like power, and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, saith Yahweh. And again, we're going to do double unto you Edomites as you did unto us, but all in righteousness. And then after that first 1,000 years, all of you Edomites will be gathered up and culled from this planet with fire permanently. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. Just keep strong and keep preaching this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathens, chiefly of Esau, Edom. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.